and I am super glad to be here today to share the newest content for our latest chapter, and of course to celebrate the 6th anniversary of Dead by Daylight. The tradition is to tell you all the content that's going to be in the chapter. And this time, we're quite excited. We're changing the recipe a little bit, and we're doing an original chapter. So this new chapter is called Roots of Dread, and it's a full chapter. It contains a new survivor, a new killer, and a new map within a new realm of the entity. That's quite exciting. So the story for the chapter revolves around a town, a perfect town. Well, a town that seems to be perfect. But of course, the residents are hiding something terrible. They're hiding secrets and a darkness. And when that darkness starts to bubble up to the surface, it creates our newest killer, the Dredge. So let's talk about it a little bit. So the Dredge is inspired by the Boogeyman, a story that is global and is known around many cultures. It's a domestic fear. It's a monster that is really close to us, that is in our familiar environment, inside our house, under our bed, in our wardrobes. And that's the type of creature we wanted to feature and create. So it is the physical representation of the darkness of the whole town, of their secrets. And it is a weird and strange creature, a monster. It has an impossible biology, featuring various limbs, heads, different parts. It is emotionless, and it's impossible to plead for your life when in front of this creature. We wanted to make sure to create a visceral scare when facing this creature. It's a bit like when you're having a nightmare, and you know it was super scary when you wake up, but you can't exactly put your finger on what it was that you've seen. The visual design of the Dredge is quite unique. It's a first for Dead by Daylight killers. It's a monster, recreated by different limbs, different heads, claws, pincers, tentacles, and we wanted to make sure that you, the player, would be able to customize as you wanted this monster. What's really cool as well for the cosmetic is that we are able to explore themes that are organic, but also constructs, like this amazing cosmetic that features dolls. All right, now let's move on to the power of the Dredge. So when playing the Dredge, we wanted you to feel like you're the embodiment of darkness, of fear itself. We wanted to recreate that feeling of a monster that's really close to us, that lives in your house. And so there are two phases to the power. The first phase is the ability to use lockers to teleport from and to. So of course, this is great for map movement. You'll be able to travel the map really quickly. But it's also great to surprise survivors that are nearby lockers, and even survivors that are hiding inside the lockers. The second phase of the power is called Night Cycle, and this is where it gets really interesting. So based on action the Dredge will make and some passive abilities, the Night Cycle will build on the survivor. When it is finally completed, Night Cycle will trigger, and a darkness will engulf the survivor. This darkness makes it very difficult to navigate, especially in chases. And the only thing the survivor can see in the distance will be the Dredge itself. So that's really creepy, and will for sure make the survivor make mistakes. Of course, the Dredge comes with 3 unique perks. We won't go into the details of these perks today, but I can say that they are themed around chaos, secrets, and corruption. Okay, now let's move on to our newest survivor. She's called Hadi Core, and you might know her from some archive entry that appeared in the past. She appeared 3 times in the archive, actually. So Hadi has a dual heritage. She is born in northern India, but was raised by her adoptive family in Quebec. And so this will be an interesting background to explore through her different cosmetic and also through future archive entries. Hadi has a very unique ability to see bleeds. These are areas of the world where the entity's influence intersect with our world. And so Hadi had her share of paranormal adventures and encounters with dreadful beasts from the entity's world, strange creature. And actually, we can see on her body all sort of scratch and marks from these encounters. Of course, Hadi will come with 3 unique perks added to the roster of abilities that the survivors are able to equip and use. These are themed around paranormal insight, proficiency with occult items, and her own temerity. And finally, let's talk about the map. So this time around, we're really excited to introduce a new realm for this chapter. So really, we are going back to the roots of horror, to a classic, something that we see numerous times into different horror novels, movies, and other horror material. And this is a small American town. So we wanted to make sure that we created something domestic, something familiar. And so for the Dredge map called the Garden of Joy, we are featuring one of the houses of the perfect town that we talked about earlier. This house looks perfect from the outside. It is like a ghost sitting in the middle of a gloomy forest created by the entity. And when you go inside that house, you'll see how twisted and wrong it is, just like the residents that are hiding all of this darkness in secret. What's really cool about this new realm is that in the future, we will be able to explore it again, but in other contexts than in the Dredge perfect town. So this realm is built from different memories, from different characters. And so we'll be able to explore different cities wrapped inside that same realm. All right, that was the whole content of our newest chapter, Roots of Dread. I hope you are as excited as us to try this new content.